Is a move like that the way that the board shook out, or just trying to add as much draft capital as you can this year and next?
I think a little bit of both. It's no secret that we've spent quite a bit of draft capital the last few years, so we felt it was pretty good value dropping down 13 or 14 spots to pick up a second and third this year and a second next year, especially considering we didn't have a first, second, or third next year. So we felt that value was pretty good. So.
I imagine the caliber of player that you're looking for, kind of what you're saying, you're hoping that just 13 spots later you'll be able to get someone that's still in that range.
Yeah, I mean we like the clusters that we've got going. We know there was some guys we certainly like there. It's pick 24. There's some good hockey players, but there's still a lot of good hockey players on the board. So hopefully we'll find one at 38.
When did you know you wanted to trade the pick? Was that something that just unfolded as players fell off the board, or did the offer just come in?
I think you're always preparing for trade back scenarios. Sometimes trade up if you have the capital behind you, because it often costs you picks behind your pick to move up. So I think this year our focus was a little bit more on trade back scenarios. There's only 3 minutes on the clock, and you can't take a timeout in the first round, as you guys know. So you kind of have to tee it up, and then you're checking in as the names get off the board, and most times it's if my guy is there, or if my one or two guys that are there, then the other teams can kind of let you know if they're serious or not. And we had a few of those types of calls going on. The other GMs were great, and we were able to find that one with Utah.
So did you actively make those calls, or did Bill reach out to you?
Both.
How does the window that this team is in wanting to win now influence your approach to the draft?
I think it's at the draft table or in general.
In general.
Yeah, I think when you're in win now mode, it's a we're trying to win now mode and be competitive. It's a fine line, right? Because when you're looking for entry level players or low AAV players to supplement your star power, and one of the key ways to get entry level players is through the draft, and quite often high in the draft, whether it's first, second, third round. So when you're consistently moving that, then you really got to hit on a late round pick or a college free agent. So it's a really fine line that you got to kind of be mindful of both things at the same time if you can. So it was I think it was important that we try and recoup some of that capital that we've moved out a lot of in the last few years in an effort to try and win, which our teams deserve. So.
How much does it feel like that clock is accelerated? Like you said, you only have 3 minutes per pick. You guys are trying to get everything done. How much of a crunch does it feel like at the table when you guys are trying to get a deal like that done?
I think the communication is key with the other teams, and trust, right? If we were dealing with somebody and we're out, letting the other team kind of know is something that I think we try and do, and the other teams do as well. So it's just important to be transparent, I think, and earn trust with the other GMs and how you do your business. And like I said, we had a few of those types of calls going on, and you guys were great to deal with.
You guys were able to lock up Casey Middlestad the other day. I know he's a restricted free agent, but was it important to get that done just to kind of plan the rest of the summer, knowing that he was going to be a bigger number?
Yeah, I mean, it's always important. I think the timing of it, it's always good to get those out of the way, right? We knew pretty much when we acquired him what the ARB years looked like, and to get that that extra UFA year at basically the ARB number was pretty important to us. So we felt that was really good value, and made sense for the player too. So to have him locked up with 3 years with Callum Ritchie developing really well as another hopefully top 6 center, we feel really good locking Casey up, and hopefully he has a big summer and a full training camp and gets off to a good start next year. But we're glad to have that one done.
You talked about how Val's situation is a challenge. Obviously, sort of how it fluctuates the cap is a challenge. But I guess, are you prepared to maybe go over 88, and then just figure it out whenever Val's ready to come back?
You really can't go over 88. There's sort of 2 tracks that you can go on. Like last year, we knew Landy was out for the year. You know, this year, thankfully, we don't know that. So how we handle Landy's situation, we know Val's going to be reinstated, you know, at some point, you know, assuming everything goes good, which obviously that's what we're hoping for him and for us. So, you know, at some point in November, it's not like we can go and spend $6 million and then go, okay, we got to get rid of $6 million 3 weeks into the season. That's not how it works. So, you know, and with Landy's situation, it's, you know, it's equally as risky. If he's a player that will he be back in training camp October 1st, November 1st? We don't know, but if he is, and we spend money, then we've got to get rid of that money, because the second the captain's ready to go back, he's going back. And we have a lot of guys with no trade protection, so it's not simple to create those escape hatches. And most teams, when they know you need to do something, it's not the best situation to be in. So we've got to be mindful and careful of those situations. Do they present challenges for us? Yes, but to get the captain back and to get a player like Val back potentially, those are two pretty special hockey players, and obviously there's hurdles that have to be cleared, and I'd be lying to you if I said it's not a challenge. It's not something that we have to think about heavily every day here between now and the early parts of free agency. We do, but it's our reality.
Alan Walsh said on a podcast that both sides, you guys and Drew N's camp, want to get something done. You know, with the clock kind of dwindling a bit, is that something you guys are still working to hopefully try to bring back?
Yeah, we'll continue to stay in touch. Again, it's a challenging one, right? Jonathan Drouin had a very, very good season last year, and he's a very good hockey player, and we are cap challenged. So there's those competing factors, right? That both parties want to get it done, but you know, finding that sweet spot is the challenge, and how we go about it over the next 48 hours, and can it get across the finish line? I don't know. I do think that, you know, Jonathan was great for us, but I also think the Avalanche were great for Jonathan as well. So we'll certainly stay in touch with Alan Walsh and through the weekend, and we'll see what happens.
This was what you guys last week with the Avs. What are the next steps, and what are you looking for in the next sort of future schedule?
That's something we'll look at after the draft and free agency, and tackle that once we get through the early parts of next week. So,
What do you think of this venue?
pretty cool. We had the opportunity of visiting here during a family trip, the mother's trip, in the fall, and it's got a behind the scenes look. So it's some of us are our second time here. It's unique, but it's pretty cool.
What are your thoughts on Nathan McKinnon finally locking up a heart?
Awesome. So happy for him. Proud of him. Like I've said, Nate's a phenomenal hockey player, and Colorado and our fans and all of us really are fortunate to be able to watch him do what he does on a daily basis. And I know he's a team first guy, and he's about winning and stuff, but he's deserved it. He's a world-class franchise player, so I was really happy to see his name barked out. And then the Ted Lindsay one is voted on by the players. That's pretty special too. When you're voted on by your peers, that was a pretty good night for him and the organization yesterday.
Andrew Cogliano retired. He said he had the option of potentially coming back, decided to stop playing. I guess, what kind of future do you foresee him having in the front office? And I guess just speak about his career in general.
Well, I mean, his career speaks for itself. I mean, he was a first-round pick. He had to earn everything he got. He sort of transformed his game into becoming this tenacious, reliable, all-around type of player, right? That was trusted everywhere he went, and to play the game, the amount of games that he played, and the health that he did, it just goes to show you that doesn't happen by accident. He was, a guy that diligently prepares every day for years, and I think that's how you do what he did. It's not like he started at 30 or later on in life. He was being dialed in from a young age, and I think that's a great lesson, and I think Andrew is going to provide us with immense value, and whether it's touching our forward prospects the scouting side and learning the business, and I think he's gonna attack this side of his life the way he did as a player. So I think the sky's the limit for Cogs in whatever path he chooses to take, and we're lucky to have him continue on the journey with us.
Two last ones, guys.
There's been other guys who recently like they retire and then they kind of dabble. Is that and then figure out what they want? Is that sort of the plan with Cogs to like?
What do you mean by dabble?
Like basically like have him like sit on a bunch of different meetings and kind of put his hands in a bunch of different places and figure out what he's good at and what he wants to do. And,
I think we certainly talked about the role, that we think is really useful. I think he's got a lot of value and he walks the walk. He talks the talk, and when he speaks, if a young prospect is smart, they're going to listen. This is a guy who played over 1,000 games and missed like 30 in his career, so he's got a lot of value. So, but he'll certainly, his tentacles will reach, a lot of different things. He's a player with recent contacts, right, for us, and touch the pro stuff and college scouting and go up the road with the Eagles. It's an infinite way that he can add value for our hockey ops department.
That's a veteran that leaves the locker room. Are you guys in communication with Jack Johnson to potentially come back for another year?
Yeah, he's like any of our other free agents. There's likely some that are obviously going to be in touch to engage on. I think Jack is a veteran. I think he knows kind of what he is, and he's played really well for us. So we haven't shut the door on anything, and with any of our guys really. There's some that like I said would be tough to figure out, but we know Jack and Jack knows us. So we'll see what happens over the next little bit.
Last one, go ahead.
With that come up next week, what are you most looking forward to seeing out of how Richie you didn't get to see last summer?
Just to see him on the ice and healthy, I think this is a really big summer for Cal to make strength gains. We obviously saw what he could do when healthy. He exceeded, to be honest, what we were hoping for. He had a dominant year in junior, right-handed skilled centerman. So we just wanted to see him, have a big summer. He wasn't able to have a summer last year rehabbing from injury. This summer is going to be one of work and grinding, get stronger and be ready to come in and compete at his first rookie camp and then main camp, which I think again will be infinitely important for him and for us. I think next week it's just a good opportunity to see all of our young guys, but the rookie camp is when the temperature gets turned up a little bit, so we'll look forward to that. But thankfully he's healthy and hopefully have a really good summer.
Thank you guys.